it does explain perfectly why the word, and then again, why the word appears on the chariot card. Yeah, being Chet, being the number 418, being the whole thing. It makes sense.
Yeah. And because of, in Hebrew, because sometimes they made mistakes in the counting and stuff. Everything called a kollel, which you can add or subtract one from. So which in essence makes 418 the same as 419. Oh, Graham's got the whole. He's gone for the whole bottle of wine.
I've got the champagne glass this time,
yeah,
with the red wine, so it doesn't quite fit together.
But that's one of them glasses when they, you see if you would put that straight in front of the camera, that it would look big. I could imagine a stripper lying in there.
Stripper. We'll have to save that for another session.
You're gonna have to hire Tinkerbell.
But I mean, he's doing the entire, in that abracadabra. He's done the entire system of the Kabbalistic tree of life.
Yeah, let's do a bit of a product placement. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
I was astonished.
It's very appropriate. We're drink with the chariot card.
Yes. Oh yeah, drink.
Yes.
Yes.
And Graham was drinking red wine, which is the blood.
Yes.
Apple cider, but it's a red apple cider, so we can play
it. I'm thinking you're just drinking pop.
So it's got alcohol. It's British, of course. It has a 4.9%.
Oh, not too bad.
It's good.
It'll produce. I think I'll need to go to the toilet before I'm going to feel tipsy.
So this is all about the Trinity, isn't it? Abracadabra, the number 11, the number of magic.
Yeah.
But again, if you hear the emphasis that Crowley puts on the importance of the word abrahadabra, considering there's not that much literature about it, I find.
Because the whole literature is the expansion of all of those other terms.
Yeah.
IIO, there's the formula, the tetragrammaton. He's got the 4 elements in there, A, B, D, H, R, the 1 cup, sword, and the Rosy Cross, which is in essence, because of course the Rosy Cross is a symbol of the 4, and it's the 4 elements in Earth, as opposed to an Earth.
Probably the Pentacle as well.
It could have been. He could have done that, but he chose the Rosy Cross because that kind of extends it. It kind of reflects, because above that he has the Temple of the Golden Dawn. Then he has the Rosy Cross, which of course is Rosicrucians as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but he hasn't. I mean, Argenteum Astrum, the AA would also fit in as part of this system as well.
Yeah.
It is actually there, because he says 418 equals at-or, and there's 2 A's there to start with, you see.
Yeah.
So he could easily have got Argenteum Astrum from that.
Yeah.
But of course, Argenteum Astrum is a silver star, isn't it? Which is a reference to the High Priestess.
And there's been a lot of arguing going on with LAM online that everyone agrees that Astrum Argenteum is not the name that Crowley intended for the AA. It's something else. But of course, LAM won't say what it is. And so officially no one knows what AA really means.
Well, if you read 777, there it is.
Yeah. Cheers. Cheers to that.
Because, there used to be, there used to be a lot more censorship of the British newspapers in the past. So they got denotices and stuff, and they couldn't say certain things. But what they used to do was put the other news story right next to the other one about the things they couldn't talk about in a separate thing. And if you understood the system, you'd know that was referring to the other one.
Yeah.
And this is what he's doing here, isn't it? The Golden Dawn, Rosy Cross, 418 art or the essence of IAO. So then you're saying the Argenteum Astrum, if it is called that, and people, get knickers in a twist about it, is the essence of IAO.
Yeah.
QED. And it says it's the expression of the goal and the exposition of the path. So it's where you want to get to and how you get there. Unless, of course, you're in the dark night of the soul. And then
IAO is I find IAO is sort of a metaphor for the dark night of the soul.
Yeah.
Why Isis, Apophis, and Osiris, where Apophis is supposed to be the dark night of the soul, in my humble perception.
And you really have Alpha and Omega in there as well. There's some other things you can do with this because the Yod is the phallus, and the O, in every part of Crowley's writing, the O is always the vagina. It's the Yoni.
Yoni, yeah.
Always. 0 or O. Either. You even find that when he writes about the I Ching, and the trigrams as well. One of the trigrams is the O as well. So then we have sex magic,
and then
within
Aleph,
all this as well, because we have Che living. So it is about life.
And Aleph meaning ox,
Yes.
and ox being an O and a cross.
Yes. Yeah. It joins them two up, doesn't it?
Yes, it's also back to the Rosy cross and to IAO and to
So you could also see that as the two columns of symbols in Liber 231, the I and the O, because the Casa,
the big one at the bottom there.
the imprisoned spirits is Casa, and Casa is Capricorn. Capricorn is 70, which is O, in the system as well. So you can also read IAO as Yod is 10, Aleph is 1, and the O is 70, which comes to 81, and then we're into lunar magic and Hecate, and all of these energies of the feminine energies are all in there as well. You see. So this is what he's constantly doing. He's flipping things around. What are you going to say, Bart?
Who's Hecate?
Hecate.
Yeah.
Hecate?
Yes, Hecate.
Yes.
I thought you just heard you mention Hecate.
I did.
That was also, wouldn't that be an interesting subject for the next video?
Yes, why not? We've done Lilith. Might as well, explore our feminine sides.
And Kali.
We put ourselves in the dark night of the soul.
Yeah, Kali.
Kali,
yeah.
No, there's a goddess.
You don't want to mess about with it.
But I think you'd have a go, Bart, wouldn't you? You just push it just a little bit too far.
It depends. If she says firmly no, then I won't.
You need the firm hand of a woman, do you, Bart?
We're treading on dangerous grounds here. This is political, delicate subject.
And who brought up the subject?
Well, when I met my wife, she explained to me, sometimes no means yes. But sometimes no also means no. So as a man, it's just a mystery, isn't it? So in the beginning, I just presumed no meant yes. But after a few black eyes. I'm really sorry. You were saying.
I don't know now.
Well, we have covered a lot of ground as well, eh?
There's been a lot of ground, hasn't there?
Yes.
I mean, he puts the whole system, the Golden Dawn, in that one word, abracadabra.
It is.
It's something you mentioned earlier about other ways of doing things in their bars. There's probably other things you can actually pull out of the system as well.
Well, it's pretty basic as well. Like there's only one vowel. It's the A. So there's five vowels and 6 consonants. That's how they call them in English, consonants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these are actually.
Are we playing Countdown now?
You what?
Are we playing Countdown now?
No, I'm trying to sound intellectual.
Okay.
It's time for another drink, I think.
Yeah. So there it is. You know, you can do 3-card readings with all of this as well too, you see, which is what we've been doing, isn't it? We generate it from 3 cards in the supernal triangle. We bring the energy down to marker, which is what he's describing this whole sort of thing. We also now need to introduce the Stooping Dragon of 8 heads, which is, there are four paths of the dragon that go around the pole star, and it's in a cone basically. And this cone is a very powerful thing that goes on. Kenneth Grant writes about this actually in not Night Side of Eden. He writes it in Beyond. Is it Beyond the Moon Zone? Could be Beyond the Moon Zone. No, it's not. It's the Ninth Arch. Yes, he writes about it in the Ninth Arch.
Oh,
This
no,
is
no,
a
no.
the Ninth Arch.
You can't see it. Your special effects are
Yeah, it's
sabotaging the
gone
book.
a little bit further away, I think. Oh, there you are. Yeah, that was better.
Ah, yeah.
The Ninth Arch. That's the final book by Kenneth Grant, which is
With a
about
big
the
O
Book of
on
the
the front.
Spider, which is another massive topic that we'd be very drunk trying to. There are 32 chapters in the Book of the Spider, so that obviously replicates the 32 paths on the Kabbalistic tree of life that's done through the spider, which is he does a lot of interesting gematria there because he's very creative with his gematria, like Crowley is. You see. But actually, people criticize Kenneth Grant for being a bit loose and free, but you kind of have to be because you're trying to explain something that's not particularly doesn't lend itself to being expressible in the first place, especially if you haven't had the experience.
Kenneth Grant is quite respected, I find. If you have, what's that Motto guy there? Motto. He's the one who's. I notice he's a lot more disliked than Kenneth Grant.
You're getting international kind of things with this because Kenneth Grant was the secretary to Aleister Crowley in the early 1940s, and and I said before he was there with Frida Harris in Dion Fortune with Aleister Crowley at Netherwood when they went through determining the final designs for the Book of Thoth. So he's familiar with the whole thing right from the start, and as a secretary. And then he when Crowley died, Crowley did a very clever thing with his will. He made it totally ambiguous and got Louis Culling and Frida Harris to be his executors. Nice, well-meaning people, but didn't have a clue about the vicious, nasty world of different organizations. So the American O.T.O, people call the Caliphate, they did it all in a court in Texas somewhere with this guy who knew nothing about any of this stuff, and they won. Okay, so there's the Caliphate O.T.O. We call it the Caliphate because it's California sort of stuff, and then there's the Typhonian O.T.O, which is Kenneth Grant's creation. So they've been bickering ever since as to who owns what and everything else.
But when you read about Kenneth Grant, there's always the left-hand path that comes up.
Yeah, he's describing the dark side. I don't think he really understood he references Carl Jung in all of this, but he didn't really understand it. And he saw this idea that there was the back of the tree of life, and that became three-dimensional, and therefore you have tunnels. You know, the way I talk about stuff is you don't need to go that far. It's just the flow of energy sort of works through anyway. So, you know, we're referencing the abyss and Coronzon and all these things. And he talks about them in there as well, but he kind of sees it as the back of the tree of life. And you get into weird stuff with Frater Achad in all of this, who inverted the tree of life completely. And he wrote a letter to Aleister Crowley, who was not impressed at all with the way of doing this stuff. So we're always there's always these competing kind of groups of people. But Kenneth Grant, you know, he did some really far out sort of stuff with his rituals and things, and bringing in a lot of left-hand path, and also, which is not my thing, left-hand path, to be honest, but he brought in the dark side. But I mean, but you can go too far in the dark side and not have the balance of the light and the dark as well. And he's all connected to Michael Bertiaux. He had a long correspondence with Michael Bertiaux, who has his own organization in Chicago that's connected very strongly with voodoo and all these things. And also with a group of magicians in Croatia, in Yugoslavia.
You're talking about Dusan Trojkovic, Frater 173 and stuff.
Yes, yeah. And that they were, you know, that's, you know, but they also kind of had a big thing about LAM and all of their path workings, because he had this thing of saying I am, didn't he? You say I am over and over and over again. This is in Kenneth Grant's writing, so it's sort of there anyway. So he had this long correspondence between them. And the Yugoslavian civil war kicks off in the middle of all of this as well. So it's a pretty heavy time that was going on. So that's an incredibly vague, potted history of Kenneth Grant. Vague, because I don't want to get sued or anything. It's just what I try to remember, the thing. And it's there are lots of nuances. And at the moment, there is no one really running the Typhonian thing, because Kenneth, Crowley didn't really leave a successor quite deliberately. And Kenneth Grant never named a successor either. So I'm not quite sure what's really going on with. I've known quite a few people in Typhonian things. I know a lot of people in a lot of organisations and groups, and Graham does too. So, but I mean, it's. I don't think anyone knows what's going on now, do they, Graham?
It's all a mystery.
It's all a mystery.
It's chaos.
Chaos. We could do one on chaos, Bart. There's lots of other subjects we can do on this one. So, can anyone sum up what we've talked about this evening? Graham?
I think abrahadabra is a very interesting word that you could spend quite a lot of time exploring. And in order to explore it, you need to know your gematria and your Eight-Backer and that's my northern pronunciation of it, and your notiquarian. I can't even say it. Notarican. Thank you. And if you do, you'll discover a lot of the mysteries of how Aleister Crowley built on top of the Golden Dawn tradition.
Yeah. And the Book of the Lies is constructed in a similar way as well.
Yeah.
All of these things, and the Book of Thoth.
And also read book 4, because there is a chapter on abrahadabra in there. It's chapter 7, I think. And also read book 4, because there is a chapter. It doesn't say a lot, but there is a chapter on abrahadabra in there.
Yes. Well, then we're getting onto the magical formulae as well, you see.
Yes.
Which is another huge area as well.
Yeah.
But there isn't a magical word longer than abracadabra, I think, in the whole system. I think that's the longest.
Yeah.
So it is pretty amazing what you can do when you start working out and doing these things. And it just shows you the range and breadth of knowledge that you need to understand this system. So there we are. I hope you can like us and love us and send some comments. And hopefully you didn't lose you too much. You can always watch this video again.
I would say watch it.
What are we doing next time?
Next time, I don't know. I would say watch this video several times.
Yes.
Because every time you watch it, you'll get something new from it, I'm sure.
Bart, what's your idea for next one?
We already had a few. There's a few ideas that passed already for the next one.
Okay.
What was it that you Coronzon? Didn't you say Coronzon?
Zax, yeah, the 10th of Zax, Coronzon. We could do Hecate.
Hey, I'm just thinking of something. You know, we started this video with the Dark Night of the Soul.
Yes.
And
we
then
ended in the light. The essence of the light. You see?
Yeah, but
we planned this.
Yeah, but there's this quote in the book of Thoth that sums it up pretty accurately, I find. Now, I might get it wrong because it's a difficult sentence, but the climax of the descent of matter is the signal for redintegration. It's something like that.
Was that which card was that?
I've no idea. I just remember that quote, but from the book of Thoth.
It wasn't the Princess of Disc, was it?
It's the climax of the descent of matter is the signal for redintegration, I think. Something like that.
That sounds really good. So integrate.
There's some extension of Om as well that I found in book 4 today, where he changes Om to Om-GN or something.
AUMGN, yes.
Which is related to what you just said, I think, Bart, based on what I read today.
So you're never going to come to the end of this. So just because you don't understand, probably is because not everyone understands it anyway. So you're the same as everyone else. So don't think you're behind on this stuff.
No, if it doesn't make sense. If it makes sense, you're not getting it.
Yeah. You missed something else. I'm sure I missed out a few things on this one as well, but never mind. I did my best on that one. It's a complicated subject, but you need to work it through yourself. And it's in 777.
I have a nice subject, but you're not going to like me for mentioning that one again.
Which one?
The Sphinx.
Yeah, the Sphinx. Yeah, that's good. On that note, cheers.
Cheers, gentlemen.
See you on the next video.
Yes, we will. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.